Hey there, I see you sitting in the shadows. Welcome to Keep Creating You. This podcast was created to bring Generation X women a plan and strategy for the next part of their life. Are you one of those women who lived in their 20s and 30s raising children, and you found yourself looking at your life and wondering, what's next? Then this podcast is for you. We discuss how to look at the next half of your life and decide what your next steps will be. Whether that is creating a business, starting a side hustle, or maybe you plan to stay in the career you love. How do you plan to get the most out of your life? How do you plan to keep creating you? Join me for this episode as we discuss a few steps for the next part of your life. So we're going to be talking in this very first episode about a little bit about my background, but also bringing forth the idea of, are you coachable? Now, I'm going to also preface that I'm not really a coach, or no, I'm not a coach at all. I have been a teacher. That I can do with confidence. But I don't know. I just talked to someone. I was just coming fresh off of a podcast interview, and I mentioned coach, and she said, actually, I think of you more as a mentor. And so, mentor, teacher, coach, however you want to say it. Also, in this particular podcast episode, was talking to her about the time that I decided that I was going to run away from home. I was probably about 8 years old, and my parents had just gotten divorced or were in the middle of a divorce. And I thought, I hate this. And I decided that I was going to pack up all of my books and I was going to run away. No clothes, just books. And so in this particular suitcase, I have no idea. Maybe it was only 10 pounds worth of books, but sure as heck at an 8-year-old felt like 50 pounds of books, And I'm going to tell you, these probably were not just single chapter books, although probably some books might have been if they were about horses or ponies. But for the most part, these books were probably storybooks, like actual chapter books, because I was an Anna Green Gables fan, so I had them all. But let me tell you, I got these books and I put them in the suitcase and I went down the end of my street, and I think that's probably as far as I could go. It is as far as I went. I just couldn't carry them anymore. Super heavy, a suitcase full of books. What are you going to do? What I really wanted to talk about in that particular instance was that I was running away with my knowledge. I was taking my books, my knowledge, my learning, whatever you want to call them, and I was taking them with me. Sure, those books were about ponies, but you know what? I have a lot of useless knowledge about horses. So thank you, books. I'm going to say that sometimes when you are running away, what you're bringing with you is always the most important, right? So even if you are running away from, an abusive relationship, you're taking those things that are most important. And I don't mean to bring that into it. It's not really what I want to get into, but I'm just saying that when you do run away from any situations, you are, in any particular case, taking with you the most precious things you have, whatever they may be, and in whatever circumstances you're running from. Now, when you are running away with those things that are most important to you, you know what you're doing? You're running towards your future with knowledge and the most important things you have. So in my case, of course, I had these books, so lots of learning, lots of knowledge in them, even if it was about ponies. But you're going to be running to the next step of your life. And this is where I'm kind of getting into the are you coachable part, right? So, and again, I'm not a coach, but I'm a teacher and I like to try to teach people. And this is kind of the premise of this whole entire podcast, is to kind of get you thinking about the next step of your life. So we're not necessarily running away from our 20s, 30s, and maybe even 40s if we're past that point. We're running to the next goal of our life, whatever that might be. This past week, I was in a virtual retreat. It was a retreat based on high ticket pricing. So if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a podcast producer and strategist as my main job. And I really struggled with this. I joined thinking, high ticket. I'd love to see how she's going to get me into a high ticket market. How can you change podcast production and really get it high ticket? I have packages on my website, and sometimes I have people that choose the middle package, the lowest package. At this point right now, I don't have anybody in my highest package. So how can I? How can I do that? How can I turn this around? And I struggled. I really struggled in this retreat, but she did something super smart. And again, she's a coach teaching this retreat. So I'm trying to be coachable here. I did pay for the retreat. So when you pay for it, you have a tendency to definitely do that, right? You're doing that. So in this high ticket retreat, we were paired up, each one of us. And I was paired up with a buddy who just happens to be an amazing woman. She lives in Montana. I'm going to actually put her information down in the show notes there. She was an awesome, awesome buddy. She's a mindset coach. So if you need coaching, please, she's in the show notes. Go see her. But she gave me such clarity on what my next step was. When I got out of the retreat each time, so each day, it was a 5-day retreat altogether, although the first day and the last day were more like bonus sessions. It was really intense on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And on those particular days, after each session, she would do like a little learning session, and then she would do this other like breakout session where we were then supposed to go and talk to our buddy and talk about what she talked about in the session. And I'm going to tell you, the first day I was all in. The middle day, the second day, I wasn't a big fan of this person. All I kept thinking was, she's not talking to me. She's talking to all those coaches, and I have a service-based business. I just spent money and I didn't get anything out of this. I'm so disappointed. But she paired us all up with buddies. And so during my buddy call, I told my buddy this. I said, I'm having a tough time trying to convert this from coach into service-based. What am I going to do about this? I can't see that next step. I can't see where I'm running to. And she said, I think you're not finding the clarity because you haven't gotten your podcast started, because you haven't gotten some of this other things going on. So even though she didn't necessarily say it just that way, I will clarify. It was kind of a roundabout way. That was the very short, condensed version that she said to me. But it was so amazing, the clarity that I got through this connection. This stranger, ultimately, I didn't know her from a hole in the wall. I had no idea, no clue whatsoever. Didn't even know what she did, nothing, knew nothing about her. But the clarity that I got on what I needed to do and what I needed to bring to you guys was amazing, because here I am thinking, I know all this information about podcasts. I know all of this information about the next step in my life that I want to do. I am not running away anymore. I'm running to the next step. And I didn't catch that. I did not catch that until I sat down to do these notes. And I would not have done these notes about what to talk about in the podcast, except she said, your next step is to introduce that podcast to the world. Why haven't you done that? And I thought, I don't know. I just haven't figured out what to say. And it wasn't until then, everything just kind of clicked. It was just amazing. I love to teach people new things. I don't consider myself a coach. I consider myself more of a teacher, although the last person that I just talked to, I did a podcast interview before this, if I didn't mention that before, she said mentor. She said, oh, you're more of a mentor. So whatever you want to call it, coach, teacher, mentor, to me, yes, they have subtle differences, but to me, I haven't maybe quite clearly defined which one of those I am. Although I will say I have been a teacher. I've been a teacher for a number of years at the retail store where I taught craft classes, and then online teaching craft classes. And even any of my clients, if they come to me and they have any questions about their podcasting or anything like that, I try to teach them. Maybe then I'm not actually teaching them. Maybe now I'm mentoring them or I'm coaching them. I'm not sure. I haven't figured it out. But that's the beauty of it. I haven't reached my final destination. I'm still running to it, right? I'm not running away necessarily, as I'm running to the next final destination. And I can't tell you how much clarity that brings to everything that I'm doing. I have always been the person with the books at the end of the street saying, I'm running away from home. But no, I have everything I need right there with me, right? I had all my books. I had my knowledge, my smarts. I knew where I was. I might have been 8. I might have had a suitcase full of pony books, but I had that and I really wasn't running away. I was running to my next destination, wherever that might have been. So I would like to, in the course of this podcast, I would like to show you what your next steps are. Where are you running to? Where are you going to? What can we do? Where are you going? Do you know where you're going? Maybe you have no idea. And that's okay too. But we're going to get you there. And that could come in the snap of a finger, or that could take weeks, months, or years. But the important thing to do is know that there are people there to guide you. There are people out there that this is what they do for a living. They coach you. They help you with your mindset. They help you with your business. They help you be the best person that you can be. It's not them doing it for you. That's an important step to think about. That's an important thing to know. I have a coach. I have a business coach, and it's a totally different person than the one I was talking about earlier. And my business coach is absolutely flippin' amazing. And she's going to cry listening to this. I know that, but she really is. And she doesn't just do my business, but she also will sometimes untwist my mindset, because we all have those times when we're down on ourselves, right? You know, even during this particular retreat I texted her. I said, you know what? I'm so discouraged. I cannot do this. This is not for me. I really wish that I didn't have a buddy, because I would just stop going. And she said, don't think of the money. Think of the marketing. Go back to your roots and think of that. Stop thinking about what you are thinking about and untwist your mind and think about something else. And I thought, nope, I can't do it. It just wasn't what I wanted to do right then. I was so deep inside my own head. But then I had another session with the buddy, and she basically said the same thing to me in just a different way. So I thought, you know what? My coach just said that, and I didn't want to listen to her. But this stranger from the middle of Montana told me this, and I was like, I'm all in. I'm in. Yeah, absolutely. I got clarity. Absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. So sometimes the delivery does help, or sometimes you're just not ready for it. In this particular case, I don't think I was ready for it. I'm not going to say that I'm not coachable. That's not at all. She definitely will teach me. And I'm really good at coaching myself too. Sometimes all it is me talking and actually getting it all out. And so maybe these podcast sessions might be a little bit of that too. So we'll find out. I'm asking you now, do you know what the next step in your life is going to be? Do you know where you're going to go? Do you need help and guidance to get there? If you do, just know that there are a huge array of different people out there willing to coach you, willing to help you, willing to guide you to that next step. Now, we're going to talk about a number of different steps that you can take in the next 8 to 10 episodes here or longer. But I just want you to know right off the bat that there are people out there to help you, and you're not alone. You don't need to be running away anymore. You can now start the next section of your life, the the next part of your life, and you can start running to your new destination. Do you know where that destination is? Probably not. I don't know where my destination is, but I'm not worried about that. That's not really, I just know that my next destination is wherever I am. And I'm comfortable with not quite knowing where that is. And I think we're going to take this journey together. So if you are ready, I'm ready to help. And I'm ready to be here for you. If you could just check out those little show notes down there and make sure that you hit that subscribe button, that's going to help so that you get me in your ear every week or so. And I'm going to bring you another episode on the next step of our lives, because we're going to start creating you. Thank you for listening to Keep Creating You. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like the show, I would love it if you'd hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player so you don't miss an episode. I would also totally appreciate it if you gave me a rating or a review. I'd love to know if this information is resonating with you. If you're looking for more information about myself or this podcast episode, you can find that over at kpcreativemedia.com/podcast. You can always find the links and resources mentioned on the show there. And if you're looking to start your own podcast, let me know. I'd love to help you. Let's talk about your idea. What's your next step in your life? Until next time, see you soon.